Hello students, we have discussed one problem in R into C column case for the test of independence of attributes. So today we will take the next problem in the same concept, which is again test of independence of attributes R into C column. So yesterday I had told you about some conditions. So what were those conditions? You can see here the total sample size should be more than 50, and there is one more condition. We will try to have a problem with this situation here. So this talks about each cell in the contingency table should have an expected frequency of at least 5. So we'll see what we are supposed to do if the frequency, that is expected frequency, is less than 5. So this anyways will follow. Okay, so what is the problem here? This problem we have already discussed. So this problem we have already discussed, and the next problem is this one now. So what the problem is about, we will try to understand the problem first, then we will get into the solution. Here you can see two researchers adopted different sampling techniques while investigating the same group of customers to find the number of customers falling in different buying intelligence levels. Okay, so everybody will have their own buying intelligence level. So if you want to buy something, you will have your own kind of research before deciding, from which company, which brand product you want to buy. So that is what called as buying intelligence level. And the more information you have, that means more accurate you will be in terms of making buying decisions. So that is why when you want to buy something, you try to research, what are the alternatives available, how many kinds of different products are available, what are the price, which product can you can give you a better value, all those things. That is what called as buying intelligence level. And there are two researchers, they are trying to assess out of their selected area, how many people are having what kind of research, what kind of buying intelligence. So that is what they are trying to assess here. What are two things? There are two researchers, and there is something called as different buying intelligence level. Okay, so we will put these researchers here, uh, uh, 1 and 2, researcher 1 and 2, and number of customers in each level. So what is that level? Buying intelligence level. We'll start with below average, then average, above average, and genius. Okay, there are people who are genius, who make proper decisions, who try to get maximum value out of the products that they buy in their lifetime. Okay, so we have below average people and average people, above average people, and we have genius. First researcher has conducted a study on 200 people. Okay, so out of these 200 people, there are 86 people who are below average in terms of buying intelligence level. There are 60 respondents, we can say, who are average in buying intelligence level. There are 44 people who are above average, better than these two category, and there are 10 persons. Okay, so that's this category, okay, who are genius in terms of making buying decisions, or they are having better buying intelligence. Okay, there is one more researcher, we call him researcher 2. He has made a study on 100 respondents, and he says according to his studies there are 40 people who are below average in terms of buying intelligence. There are 33 average, 25 above average. There are only 2 genius out of these two, for the second researcher. So here, total below average 126, total average 93, total above average 69, there are only 12 total genius in terms of buying intelligence. So total how many respondents were targeted? 300. And this is how the category totals span out, and this is how the total sample each researcher have taken. So this is what the data which is in the table, which is the first step in solving a problem. So that is understanding the problem itself. So if you are not understanding problem, you cannot you cannot solve this problem. So that is why, that is what I always keep telling. So if your car is not starting, then you have to find where is the problem. So if you are not able to find the problem, then you cannot solve it, or you cannot bring back your engine to life. So there may be so many problems. So most of the time simple problem will be, there will be no fuel in the tank, and people check everything, battery, that, this, all those things, then finally they come to know that there is no fuel in the car. That is why it is not starting. So that is what I always tell you: first understand the problem, take some time to read the problem carefully, then dive into the part of the solution. Okay, here what is the uh, test that we have to do? So again we are discussing independence of attributes. Are the two sampling techniques and buying intelligence significantly independent? Right, so that is what we are testing here, chi-square. For the test of independence, there is no dependency. One attribute is not depending on the other attribute. That is what we are trying to prove here. If you are not able to prove it, then we will say not independent. They may be dependent. So our task is to find whether it is independent or not. If it is not independent, yeah, to some extent it may be dependent. That is like not independent. So this is your problem. So alpha value is given, level of significance we are supposed to use 0.05 level of significance, that is like 5%. So this is your problem. So now we'll get into the solution part. Here I have copied that whole problem here. It is in red. So the problem, we will get into the solution now. Your null hypothesis H naught, HO, anything, H0, null hypothesis is the two sampling techniques, the two sampling techniques, the two sampling techniques and buying intelligence of the respondents are independent. So these are the two attributes, attribute A, attribute B, whatever we can say. Two sampling techniques and buying intelligence are independent. So in case if we are not able to prove it, what should be our alternative hypothesis? The two sampling techniques and buying intelligence are not independent. You are supposed to use this not independent. So again, your formula, just like in the previous problem, it remains the same. Chi-square is equals to summation of difference between all the values. There should be a square here, sorry. Okay, I'll just write it like this for time being. Observed frequency minus expected frequency whole square divided by expected frequency. So that is what your formula. Then we have to calculate expected frequencies. So how do you calculate expected frequencies? Corresponding row total into corresponding column totals divided by grand total. So this video will not go for a long time because we have already discussed all these things in the previous problem. So we'll just solve the problem as soon as possible. So this is your expected frequencies and this is how you calculate it. So I'll try to give more importance to that different part from that previous problem. So here this is your expected frequency table. and this part will be empty. Okay, this part will be empty before you calculate this part. After calculating this part, you enter all the values here. It is not important that you make this table, but if you have time you can make this table. Okay, this is table. Otherwise you can directly calculate these values and you can take these values in the final calculation table. The thing is, you might get confused between, if you take the row values first, if you take values row wise, you have to take here also the row wise values only, these row wise values. Okay, so here it is not a big problem because you are having 2 rows and 4 columns. It is easy to differentiate. Sometimes what happens, you might have 4 rows and 4 columns, so there is a chance that you might get confused, and you will take observed values in row terms and you take expected values in column terms. Then you will get the entire problem will be a wrong problem. Okay, wrong solution. Then uh, we were discussing how to calculate these expected frequencies. I told you yesterday it is about for all these, I'll make this just like yesterday, half here and half here. I'll just zoom it out. Okay, yes, now it is visible fully. Yeah, so yeah, so I hope it is visible in your mobile screen. Okay, so here this is your problem table, and you're having 86, 60, 44, 10, and after for all these values you calculate expected values. So these are the expected values. For 86 you have expected value of 84, for 60 you have expected value of 62, for 44 you have 46, for 10 you have 8. It goes like that for all the 8 values that you're having here. Okay, so how did you calculate it? So your row total into column total divided by grand total. So that is how you do it. So just like previous problem, and for all the values you're doing it. So first, researcher, for all these categories, so I've written here researcher 1 for below average. This is for 84, researcher 1 average, researcher 1 average. So for 62 you are getting 62. Here it is. Okay, so that is how you do it. For both the researchers you are calculating expected values. Okay, so then what do? We will put all these observed values in this table, like 86, 60, 44. That is, I've taken it from the problem. So this is your observed frequency. These are the actual values which are observed. Then 86, 60, 44, 10, 86, 60, 44, 10. Then you have 40, 33, 25, 2, 40, 33, 25, 2. Then these are the values which are taken from this table, expected table. So this is the actual table from where we take observed values. This is your expected frequency table. From here you take 84, 62, 46, 84, 62, 46. Then you have 8, 42, 31, 8, 42, 31. Then you have 23 and 4, 23 and 4. Okay, so this is your chi-square calculation table, where we'll make the calculation of your chi-square value, final chi-square value. This is chi-square. Okay, this is chi-square now. Okay, it's visible. So here I have made some changes here. Okay, if you compare it with the previous problem, I have made some changes here. So what is this change? I'll just talk about it. So I had told you here in the explanation of this method, each cell in the contingency table has expected frequency of at least 5. Okay, so here this is your expected frequency and these are individual cells, and one cell has a value which is less than 5. It says expected cells should have values greater than 5 or at least 5, so 5 or more than 5. So here we have 4. Okay, so what do we do in this case? Okay, in this type of problems, here you have to follow a method. What is that method? Here I have written it in notes, you have to remember this. We notice that one expected frequency is 4, this one, which is less than 5. So we add this expected frequency with the preceding, that is previous expected frequency. Corresponding observed frequencies are also added. So the observed frequencies are here, corresponding observed frequencies are these two. First we will add these two. So what do we do? If we find a 4 here, that 4 has to be added with the previous frequency to make the previous frequency 27. And when you do this, you can keep you cannot leave this just like that. So you will have to make the same changes just like here. Okay, so we are adding it to the previous number. So for example, if you got a 4 here, okay, instead of 8, this may be 3. Okay, here you can see here 8, this may be 3. So what do? You will add this 3 to the 46 to make this 46 49, and you add this 10 to the 44 to make it 54, and you delete this entire row. Okay, you delete this entire row. So here also we are doing the same thing. You can see here there is no further calculation here because this 4 has been added to this previous value 23 to make it 27. This 02 is added to 25 to make it 27. Okay, now we'll use these two values for the further calculation. So further calculation, we know that observed, expected, they have to be subtracted and then they have to be squared, right? So after squaring, these values have to be again divided by these e values, expected values, to make this column. So this column is prepared here, right? So after preparing this, you have this calculated value of chi-square, and this you are going to use it for the purpose of testing. So we'll take this value for the further steps of the calculation. So it is x chi-square, which is equals to 0.9232. Okay, so we are provided with level of significance at 5% level of significance, r minus 1, c minus 1. What is that? You remember, this is degree of freedom. Okay, how many rows do we have here? This is first row and this is second row. So 2 rows. How many columns? 1 row, 1 column, second column, third column, fourth column. First, second, third, fourth. So that is, we have 4 columns here. So 2 minus 1 into 4 minus 1, that is like 1 into 3. So you have a degree of freedom of 3. Now we will try to understand what is a critical value. So from the table you can see this. The critical value is 7.81. So we know how to we have already discussed it, right? So in the class during the previous chi-square tests, how do you calculate critical value when the degree of freedom and level of significance are given, level of significance are not given? Then we will take it as 5% assumed level of significance. Okay, all those things. So critical value, you have to mark it here, mark the critical value, and mark this area towards the right as critical region, or we call it as reject region, and towards the left it is acceptance region. So if your calculated chi-square value falling in this region, you accept your h naught, and if your calculated chi-square value falling in this region, you reject h naught. Okay, so what is our calculated chi-square value? The calculated chi-square value is 0.9232. 0.9232, it should be 0.9232. Your calculated chi-square value is 0.9232. Then okay, so here your calculated chi-square value is falling in acceptance region, therefore you write it chi-square value, or you can write calculated chi-square value lies in the acceptance region, therefore H naught is accepted, and your conclusion will be the two sampling techniques and buying intelligence significantly, okay, so you can say are significantly independent. The two sampling techniques and buying intelligence are independent. You can write just independent, because here they have given, they had asked whether it is significantly independent. You can use the word significant, or uh, you can just leave it. So the two sampling techniques and buying intelligence are independent. So this is the second problem that we've discussed. We'll discuss one more uh, question paper problem. So this is a question paper problem that I'll be discussing. I'll make a separate video for this. So what you have to do is, this is a new practice for us now, learning from video. You have to copy this problem first, okay, only the problem you have to copy. So you have listened to the whole video. Now you have to copy this problem separately, and you have to try it on your own, okay. Do not look into this video, and you have to try it on your own in a rough sheet or rough book. Then you can, once you can do on it, you can do it on your own, then you can copy to the normal notes that you maintain for the subject. So first thing is, watch the video, understand the problem. If you have any doubt, contact me, and you try to do it on your own. Anyways, you are being at home now, you have a lot of time, so try it on your own and try to finish it, okay. Thank you.